Hello. Sorry about that. Hello to all my friends and welcome to Jim's 5am club. It's lunchtime, the day's brightened up, the wind has blown the early morning clouds away. Got a few clouds up there, but the sun has pushed through and it's turned into another beautiful Sydney summer day. Just with a little bit of cloud just to keep it interesting, and a gentle breeze just to keep it fresh. But I'm over here on wharf number 6 during my lunch break, and we'll step through another Jim's 5am club. And the book that I want to talk to you about today, a book summary, is entitled The Power of Broke. The Power of Broke, and it's written by an author known as Daymong John, who is one of the people who featured on Shark Tank. So let's do a bit of a deep dive on this book and go through the 3 key points that the book summary highlights, and we'll see where it leads us. I'm sure that we're going to learn something new and gain something from this little journey that we're going to take this afternoon. So the author kicks off the book making a brilliant quote, saying that the important thing to understand and to realise is that being broke is temporary, but poverty of mind is permanent. That's a very powerful point. It's something to take heed of, that being broke is only a temporary thing that happens in our lives, but having poverty of mind is something that'll last a lifetime. So don't feel bad about yourself and don't get overwhelmed with being broke, but try and work to sorting yourself out and using it as a stepping stone, as a lever, as a catalyst to improving your life, improving your station in life, and getting more of what you want in your life. So let's just move off down to the end of the jetty here. Nobody about, so I can talk freely and as loud as I can without interfering with anybody's privacy and lunchtime break. So the first point to come out of this book is that being broke allows you to find resources that others can't see. And we all know about that, because when you're broke, when you're got some limitations, things that are holding you back, then your senses are primed and you will look for opportunities, and you'll be a lot more hungrier to do things than people who are not in a situation which causes them grief. And I love the next point. The author brings up another beautiful point that takes me back to my childhood years, when I was with my parents, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, and all of the early migrants which came to Australia, where we were tight-knit and worked together as a tight community and helped each other out. But the author here says that being an immigrant is an advantage, because your default setting is that you have to prove yourself. And such is the case with most of the people who came to Australia in the mid-50s. They all came from different backgrounds, from different parts of Greece, but the one thing they all had in common was that they had to prove themselves to their families back overseas, to their friends and relatives here in Australia, and they all had to basically go out on the limb and do whatever they had to do to A, survive, and then B, to use that as leverage for growth and development So, like my parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts and friends and families from back in those days, they all got to see opportunities where others just saw problems. Because when you got nothing to lose, it's you're liberated. You don't have to worry about the things that other people worry about. You just focus on what you need to do to get that lucky break, and when you get that break, you just work as hard as you can and team up with as many people as you can to deliver on that promise and on that opportunity. So as we know, we've learnt many times over our lifetimes that necessity is the mother of invention. So you become more creative and more resourceful when you have limitations placed upon you in terms of time, in terms of opportunity, and hence that's why a lot of people of my parents and grandparents' generation grabbed every possible opportunity they could with both hands, 10 fingers and both arms, hugged it tightly and made the most of it, and surprised not only themselves, their families overseas, but also the future generations who look back and wonder how they did it and how successful they were, because the rest of us have started our lives in privilege. And sadly, many people will never ever be the equal of their parents and grandparents and live a long life, married to the same partner, bringing up family, keeping the families together, and basically building businesses, building wealth, and providing platforms for their children, grandchildren, and future generations. So the lessons that come out of being broke can be used in the 4 stages of business growth, and the author touches on those 4 stages and basically says that we all begin with an item, a product or service, which becomes a label, which becomes a brand, and when it becomes a lifestyle, that's when you know that you've made it. Because a lifestyle becomes a status symbol. And the author uses an example here where Apple were the first ones to produce earphones in the colour white. And the reason why they made them white was for them to stand out and to be identified as being Apple earphones, as opposed to the boring old black ones that other people had. So let's just move on to the next point. So we're making some nice little progress here. And the last point in this book from this wonderful author is a call to action. And the call to action is whatever you do, whatever you think about, whatever you plan, you need to start, and start now. Just like our parents didn't wait around for things to be perfect. They didn't wait around for everybody else to do things. They didn't worry about being guinea pigs. They were early adopters. They were hard workers. They were risk takers. So, and we all need to understand that it's much easier now than what it was ever before in terms of getting a start and getting things done, because unlike the past, in these days you've got lots of platforms that you can leverage which are low cost, allow for easy entry, have no technology limits, and can allow you to interface with people in your locality, your city, your state, your country, and anywhere else in the world. With the technology that we have today, the lesson is that you can basically collaborate and partner up with people all over the world. So there's nothing stopping you starting a business. And as we said, you've got to start with an idea, which becomes a label, which becomes a brand, which becomes a lifestyle. But you have every opportunity at your fingertips. But regardless of what opportunities you have, and there are lots and lots and lots of opportunities, because each idea fosters other ideas, but you can't capitalize on any opportunity if you've got a negative mindset, if you're troubled about your past, if you're worried about your future, and you're not prepared to do the hard work right now, right here, and be all in, so to speak. The author talks about the fact that any limits that we have are an illusion that we've created in our own minds, and the limits that we have, our parents may have faced as well. But thank God they didn't sit and think about it too much. They just decided to get on with it. They came to a new country, they came for a better life, and they came here to work hard. They were immigrants, they were people who had basically turned their backs, turned everything, and turned away from their family and friends and lifestyle that they once knew, in order to create a new future and a new now for them, and also to provide the platform for us and our future generations to leverage off. So the final point that I've got from this book is, in summary, you need to understand that being broke is an advantage, because it gets you thinking and it gets you working hard. So don't focus on what you don't have. What you need to do, according to the author, is to focus on the things that you've got available to you, and to be prepared to take risks, calculated risks, to work hard, to partner up with people, and to be very, very flexible in your approach, so that you can continue to grow, develop, and modify your approach to make the most of the changing situations. So there you go. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's learn to not fear being broke in any way, shape or form, and to understand that being broke, being at a starting point, being at a crossroads, is actually an advantage, because you don't sit and think about the risks. What you sit and think about is the opportunity, and then you just present yourself in front of explosive growth and do whatever it takes, for as long as it takes, to bring it to fruition. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to joining you again tomorrow from a different location with a different message from Jim's 5am Club, where we can go on a walk and talk. We can see the highlights of this beautiful city of Sydney, and to see where the book summary takes us, so that we can live, learn and pass it on. We can grow and develop and share a moment throughout the day to contemplate, to think and to pass our time. Yasas, take care, from Jim on Jim's 5am Club. Filakya, and we'll chat again at a later point. Bye for now.